Funding and profit. Just some quick facts for you. So, screen. More people watch the Puppy Bowl than attend a Broadway play in a whole year. TV also uses commercials. Stage. 10 to 11 million people attend a Broadway show a year at one of the 39 Broadway theaters, and theaters are generally nonprofit. Question time. Many companies lose money producing. If it weren't for tax exemptions, donors, and patrons of the arts, most theaters would cease to exist. Well, we gave away the answer on that one. Stage. Question. Product placement is used. Answer. This is the screen, TV and films. And we're going to get into product placement right now. Product placement. When watching a movie or a TV show and we see a star drinking a particular type of soda or driving a specific car type or wearing distinct apparel, it's more than likely that the companies paid millions to have their product featured. 75% of all product placement money goes to TV because of the commercials. That's why that's a thing. So a great example of this is James Bond. We all know, he takes his martinis shaken, not stirred. And if you see in this first picture, this is old James Bond, and he's drinking Smirnoff. Smirnoff is his choice of vodka, right? But then if we look at a new Daniel Craig movie, we see that he's drinking Belvedere. So those companies, we all know he drinks vodka, and so they fought over, or they paid money to have their vodka featured in the film so we would see it and be like, oh, maybe Smirnoff is delicious and I should drink that. Or maybe Belvedere is delicious and I should drink that. So it's just like something that we see as an audience member to try to get us to buy their products over other ones. And here's some more examples that you can see from popular TV shows. So we have Ross, and he's holding a Coca-Cola. We have Phil Dunphy, and he is holding a Apple product. Then we have Will and Grace, and this is a double. He's not only holding a Starbucks cup, but he also is on an Apple computer. We have Walter White, and in the background there is a Coca-Cola machine. Then we have Orange is the New Black, and they both are eating Cheetos. Then we have Stranger Things. There's actually a whole bunch of cereals back there, but the only one I could really make out is Life. The rest of them could just be like garbage props that people made up labels for. And then lastly, we have Big Bang Theory, and we see that the Xbox One is in the background. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be as sneaky as like, oh, I'm drinking a soda, or look at me, I'm using my computer, but it could be something like Wayne's World.
Listen, we need to have a talk about Vanderhoff.
The fact is, he's the sponsor. And you signed a contract guaranteeing him certain concessions, one of them being a spot on the show.
Well, that's where I see things just a little differently. Contract or no, I will not bow to any sponsor.
Sorry you feel that way, but basically it's the nature of the beast.
Maybe I'm wrong on this one, but for me, the beast doesn't include selling out. Garth, you know what I'm talking about, right?
It's like people only do things because they get paid. And that's just really sad.
I can't talk about it anymore. It's giving me a headache.
Here, take 2 of these.
Ah, new print. Little, yellow, different.
Look, you can stay here in the big leagues and play by the rules, or you can go back to the farm club in Aurora. It's your choice.
Yes, and it's the choice of a new generation.
Well, that was a really funny way to look at product placements. Okay, great. Moving on. So funding, theater, and the arts. Ticket sales and concession sales at most nonprofit theaters cover only 59% of the cost of producing a performance. The other 41% comes from outside sources, including grants and contributions. And then we have a couple we're going to talk about in detail, but here's the list. We have individual contributions, corporate contributions, foundations, federal government, and local entities. So first we have patrons. They come in all sizes. They can range from billionaires giving away millions of dollars to the average Americans who donate a few extra hard-earned bucks. That's hard, not had-earned bucks. And this is true. I don't know if you've seen at the end of a play, they have people with baskets, and they're just like, hello, please donate anything from your pocket. That's like, that helps smaller theaters, and that's something they usually do. All right. Theaters usually print the names of contributors on their programs. And so on the back of the program, if you see, there's a whole bunch of names of people, and they're just like, thank you. And that's probably people who donated money, maybe to the season of the show, maybe to that specific show, or maybe just to the company in general. It's something they do every year. Lower levels of contributors may be called patrons or donors. Higher level of contributors may be labeled as benefactors or producer, and even in some cases may be creative names like angel or protector. Corporate funding. This can range from small mom and pop companies to mammoth corporations. Small businesses such as restaurants will donate to local theaters because a successful theater in the neighborhood can increase dinner receipts. This is true. I've worked at smaller theaters where we've done this, and we've even had raffles, so people pay the money to enter the raffle, and then the prize would be a gift card to the local restaurant up the street. And then the idea is that the next time you come see our play, you can go get dinner and a drink with your gift card and then come back and hang out with us. So it helps promote both. Larger corporations may want to have their businesses mentioned in the program, and in some cases buy out the show for a night as a work outing event, or expect some amount of free tickets. Both are true. It's for larger companies like wine distributors will like put their whole winery in the back, and they'll be like, we donated wine, and like we're amazing, and so people will be like, oh, this wine was delicious, and then they'll go to that winery maybe. And then for the corporate buyouts, I've had this before too. One time we had a law firm, and they bought out, it was like a Thursday night show, they bought out the theater, and they had gone to dinner before, and there was this one lady, she was wasted, right? And you know, by the way, you're going to a theater show on a Thursday night. And she basically drank too much, and at the start of the show ran out of the theater and threw up in the lobby. So corporate buyouts, they could be fun, they could be wild, and they should not include vomit. Okay. Government funding. The U.S. government spends far fewer tax dollars on the arts than any other major industrialized nation. Example, the U.S. spends 1/40 of the amount of the amount the German government does each year on supporting the arts. The federal agency that disburses our art tax dollars is the National Endowment for the Arts, or the NEA, and it is one of the smallest government programs. For example, in 2015, the budget for the NEA was $158 million for the arts, but that same year, the budget for the U.S. Army marching bands was $198 million. Let's continue on government funding. President JFK earned a bipartisan support needed to create the NEA, but he was assassinated in 1963 before his dream could be realized. President Lyndon B. Johnson signed into law that bill that created the NEA. So thank you to both of them. So I'm going to show you two clips, and these are the same performance, but one is done on stage and one is done on screen. So you can just kind of tell the difference between both.
Is this a dagger which I see before me? The hand toward my hand. Come, let me touch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not fatal vision sensible to feeling as to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation, proceeding from the heat-oppressed brain? I see thee yet in form as palpable as this which now I draw. Thou marshallest me the way that I was to go, and such an instrument I was to use. Mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses, or else worth all the rest. I see thee still, and on thy blade and dudgeon gouts of blood which was not so before. There's no such thing. It is the bloody business which informs us to mine eyes. Now, for the one half world, nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse the curtain's sleep. Witchcraft celebrates pale Hecate's offerings. Withered murder, alarmed by his sentinel the wolf, whose howls his watch thus with his stealthy pace, with Tarquin's ravishing strides towards his design, moves like a ghost. Thou sure and firm set earth, hear not my steps which way they walk, for fear thy very stones plagued of my whereabout, but take the present horror from the time which now suits with it. Whiles I threat he lives, words to the heat of deeds too cold breath gives. I go, and it is done. The bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for it is a knell that summons thee to heaven or to hell.
Is this a dagger which I see before me? The handle toward my hand. Come. Let me clutch thee. I have thee not. And yet I see thee still. Art thou not fatal vision sensible to feeling, as to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation, proceeding from the heat-oppressed brain? I see thee yet. Thou marshallest me the way that I was going, and such an instrument I was to use. Mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses, or worth all the rest. I see thee still, and on thy blade and dudgeon gouts of blood that was not so before. There's no such thing. It is crafty business which informs thus to mine eyes. Now, o'er the one-half world, nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse the curtain's sleep. Now witchcraft celebrates pale Hecate's offerings, and withered murder, alarmed by his sentinel, the wolf whose howls his watch, thus with his stealthy pace, with Tarquin's ravishing stride towards his design, moves like a ghost. Thou sure and firm set earth, hear not my steps which way they walk. For fear thy very stones prate of my whereabouts, and take the present horror from the time which now suits with it. Whilst I threat, he lives. Words to the heat of deeds too cold breath gives. I go, and it is done. The bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for 'tis a knell that summons thee to heaven. Or to hell.
And here we are at Curtain Call. Screen entertainment tends to view their audiences as consumers and what they do as a product. Theater tends to view their audiences as equal participants in the theater experience and what they do as an artistic production.